ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं विश्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अष्टादशोऽध्यायः मोक्षसन्न्यासयोगः। अर्जुन उवाच सन्न्यासस्य महाबाहो तत्त्वमिच्छामि वेदितुं त्यागस्य च हृषीकेश पृथक् केशिनिषूदन। श्रीभगवानुवाच काम्यानां कर्मणां न्यासं सन्न्यासं कवयो विदुः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणाः। त्याज्यं दोषवदित्येके कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः यज्ञदानतपः कर्म न त्याज्यमिति चापरे। निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र त्यागे भरतसत्तमा। त्यागो हि पुरुषव्याघ्र त्रिविधः सम्प्रकीर्तितः यज्ञदानतपः कर्म न त्याज्यं कार्यमेव तत्। यज्ञो दानं तपश्चैव पावनानि मनीषिणाम् एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्। नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः तामसः परिकीर्तितः। दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजेत् स कृत्वा राजसं त्यागं नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्। कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म नियतं क्रियतेऽर्जुन सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव सत्यागः सात्विको मतः। न द्वेष्ट्य कुशलं कर्म कुशलेनानुषज्यते त्यागी सत्त्वसमाविष्टो मेधावी छिन्न संशयः न हि देहभृता शक्यं त्यक्तुं कर्माण्यशेषतः यस्तु कर्मफलत्यागी सत्यागीत्यभिधीयते अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च त्रिविधं कर्मणः फलं भवत्यत्यागिनां प्रेत्य न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित् पञ्चैतानि महाबाहो कारणानि निबोध मे साङ्ख्ये कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम् अधिष्ठानं तथा कर्ता करणं च पृथक्विधं विविधाश्च पृथक् चेष्टा दैवं चैवात्र पञ्चमम् शरीरवाङ्मनोभिर्यत् कर्म प्रारभते नरः न्यायं वा विपरीतं वा पञ्चैते तस्य हेतवः तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम् आत्मानं केवलं तु यः पश्यत्यकृतबुद्धित्वात् न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः यस्य नाहङ्कृतो भावो बुद्धिर्यस्य न लिप्यते हत्वापि स इमान् लोकान् न हन्ति न निबध्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं परिज्ञाता त्रिविधा कर्म चोदना करणं कर्म कर्तेति त्रिविधः कर्म संग्रहः ज्ञानं कर्म च कर्ता च त्रिधैव गुणभेदतः प्रोच्यते गुणसङ्ख्याने यथावत् शृणुतान्यपि सर्वभूतेषु एनैकं भावमव्ययमीक्षते अविभक्तं विभक्तेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि सात्विकम् ॐ तत्सत्
Okay. So you want to read the 19th sloka again and then go to the
Were we on the 19th shloka or 18th? I think we were doing the 17th actually. Yasya nahankrito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa iman lokan nahanti na nibadhyate. We didn't start jnanam jneyam parijnata. No.
Okay.
So you can read 17 maybe
you
from
want
the
to
beginning.
read the 17? Okay. Jesus. I think I'm having some trouble sharing this page. 1 second. Okay. You can see the page, right? Yes, sure.
Yes, we can see.
Oh, this is. Oh. Here is that word here. Here the word Kevala means pure, untouched by anything. That's under sloka 16. Okay. That's what I was thinking. This is 17 we are supposed to read, right? Okay. want to read from the beginning, Brahmana? Okay.
Yeah, if
Yeah, no problem.
we'll do it from the beginning.
Yasya, for whom ahankritaha bhavaha na, there is no I notion. Yasya buddhihi, whose mind na lipyate, is not affected. Saha he iman lokan, these people, hatva api, even killing, na hanti, he does not kill, na nibadyade, nor is he bound. The one who has no I notion, the one whose mind is not affected, he, even killing these people, does not kill, nor is he bound. The one who sees the Atma as Akarta is not bound by karma. The person who has undergone the proper process of learning with the help of the teacher and the Shastra does not have ahankritaha bhava. That is the notion that I am the doer. Such a person understands that even though the doer is Atma, because there is no doer without the Atma, without the Atma. In reality, Atma is not the doer. Shankara explains how he gets this particular discriminative knowledge, which takes the form of cognition. I am not the doer. Again, Shankara explains how he gets this particular discriminative knowledge, which takes the form of the cognition. I am not the doer. The five factors, such as the physical body, senses, mind, etc., are superimposed upon the Atma by ignorance, avidya. Ignorance is the connecting factor which makes it look as though Atma has a body, a set of senses, a mind, etc., even though it is independent. He has the understanding that these five factors are the performers of all the actions. Gunaha, guneshu vartante. The gunas move about among the gunas and not I. So the gunas move about among the gunas and not I. I am the witness of all these activities. To illustrate, Shankara quotes the Shruti here. Aparano Yamanaha Subro Aksharat Parataha Paraha. The one who is free from the prana, free from the mind, and therefore always pure and above Akshara, the cause of all causes. He is the one who is the very basis of Maya. That self is free from any modification or action. The person who sees this is clear in his thinking. So the person who sees this is the clear in his thinking. He is the one whose mind is not affected at all. He is the one whose mind is not affected at all. Buddhihi na lipyate. He has no regret or remorse and therefore does not say, what good did I not do? What wrong did I do? Kim aham sadhu na akaravam. Kim aham papam akaravam iti. He has no guilt whatsoever and he is not plagued with the fear of retributions for all his omissions and commissions, thinking, why did I not do the right thing? Why did I do the wrong thing? People are always regretful in this way. But there is a person whose buddhi is no longer affected by any such guilt. This is a very important thing because every feeling of guilt is centered on I. Things that were supposed to have been done by me were not done, and things that should not have been done at all were done. So here, things that were supposed to have been done by me were not done, and things that should not have been done at all were done. This is the lot of everyone. There are varieties of omissions and commissions, even in terms of accomplishment, education, skill, and so on. People regret, I should have gone to the medical college. I should have studied engineering. I should have learned music. I should not have learned music. Why did I become a teacher of all things? I should have gone to the industry, etc. People can always be regretful of what they did or did not do. All these are based on one's own action. But action itself does not cause guilt. It is the action centered on I that causes guilt. It action that is centered on I that causes guilt. The guilt and I go together. Fortunately, however, I is free from any action. You may say 100 different things, but I performs no action. If that is so, what good or bad action is there for Atma? It never did anything and is therefore free from guilt. Naturally, if one has this vision of Atma, his mind is not affected in any way by regrets and remorse. So I'll read this line again. Naturally, if one has this vision of Atma, his mind is not affected in any way by regrets and remorse. Tasya buddhir na lipyate. Repentance may be useful in management of your emotions, etc. But it is only for the person who looks upon Atma as the Karta. We are not dismissing repentance here, but we are going one step further. Again, but we are going one step further and saying that Atma is Akarta, and therefore nothing that was ever done or not done by him can be repented. Okay. So next topic is, even if the jnani kills, he does not kill. The one who sees this is the person who thinks clearly. The one who sees this is the person who thinks clearly. The wise person who sees that even destroying all these people assembled on the battlefield, he does not perform the act of destruction. Hatvapi sa iman lokan nahanti. When he destroys all these people in the battlefield, how can you say he does not destroy? Shankara says, from the standpoint of an onlooker, the person seems to perform the action, but in fact, Atma performs no action. Therefore, he is not bound by the result of any action. Na nibadhyate. It comes from the five factors, including the body, but not from the Atma directly. Atma is only the witness, Sakshi, the very basis, Adhisthana, of the body and all actions, but itself performs no action. It is the person alone that counts here, and that person performs no action whatsoever. What is to be done is done. When a judge issues a judgment for a person to be hanged, can we say he is guilty of taking a life and therefore has to be given capital punishment? No, because it is the thing to be done. He has no guilt whatsoever because he knows that he is just an instrument in the execution of the law. There is no ego there. This is not a sanction for killing, but by dealing with the most difficult, improper action, all other actions are dealt with. This is called Pratama Malla Nyaya. If you want to become a heavyweight boxing champion, you only need to defeat the current champion. Similarly, here by pointing out the action of killing, he pointed out all other actions. We have seen how can the person who knows this indestructible, eternal, unborn, imperishable, kill anything or cause anything to be killed. Veda avinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katam cha purushaha partha kham gatayati hantikam. And also, he does not kill, nor is he killed. Nyayam hanti na hanyate. And this unborn, eternal, ancient one is not killed even when the body is killed. Ajo nityam saswatoyam puranaha. Na hanyate hanyamane sarire. It is not an object of action, much less subject. In the previous verse, it was said that the one who has not undergone the discipline of learning properly looks upon the self, which is actionless, as the agent. Kevalam atmanam kartaram pashyati. That is, Kevalah atma karta iti pashyati. Before that it was said that there are 5 factors necessary for any action: karana, karta, adhisthana, prana, and daiva. While the karta, the doer is atma. Atma is not the doer. We are not presenting a karta other than the atma. In fact, we are not presenting anything other than atma. The karta, being atma, is nothing but Satchidananda, which is completely free from doing. This is not seen unless one removes the ignorance about atma. Therefore, the person who does not have a clear understanding about the atma thinks that atma is karta. Even if atma by itself is not the karta, so we are going on to next heading here. Even if atma by itself is not the karta, why can it not be a karta along with the other factors? A pertinent doubt is raised here by Shankara. Perhaps the verse means that the one who is not well informed looks upon Atma alone as the agent. Kartaram Atmanam Kevalam Pashyati Durmatihi, not taking into consideration the other 4 factors required for an action. Without them, there is no possibility of karma. Although Atma by itself has no agency, Kartrutva, in conjunction with the other 4 factors, it has. Therefore, this does not mean that Atma is akarta. It is still a karta, but not by itself. Kevala Atma is akarta. But in association with the body, etc., it becomes the karta. Everyone knows this. Nobody looks upon Atma alone as a karta, who thinks that he is independent of the physical body and yet performs an action like walking without the physical body. So I'll read this line again. Who thinks that he is independent of the physical body and yet performs an action like walking without the physical body. Nobody commits that mistake. If he does, he is Durmati. Why not take the verse this way? So this is that Purvamimamsa, as you said. Shankara says that this is not difficult to answer. The if Atma in association with the physical body, etc., becomes the karta, How does Atma establish this association with physical body, mind, and senses? Atma itself does not undergo any change to be able to form an association. So again, Atma itself does not undergo any change to be able to form an association. It is avikriya. Does not undergo any change. That is avikriya. Being pure awareness, it has no part to associate with something. Being pure awareness, it has no part to associate with something. It is niravayava. Niravayava. How is pure awareness going to associate itself with anything? Pure awareness, how it's going to associate with anything? How can something which has attributes like the physical body be associated with another thing which has no part at all? If there are two objects, each having a certain form, association is possible. But when is absolutely free of attributes, how is it going to associate with the physical body? Again, but when one is absolutely free of attributes, how is it going to associate with the physical body which has attributes? It is not possible. So that question about Atma itself is why cannot be Karta? This is the answer. It cannot because it's avikriya niravayava. Kevala Atma cannot do any action. Then what is the meaning of the word Kevala? While it can be used in the sense of merely, as it has been taken by the objector, it can also be used in the sense of pure, it alone exists, nothing else. It's pure, it alone exists, nothing else. It is by nature free from any modification or attribute. The word Kabbalah here should be taken in the sense of purity, restating a fact about the self. Therefore, in the previous verse, Kevalam Atmanam Kartaram Pashyati Durmatihi does not mean that Atma alone is seen as the Karta. That is not the meaning, and the next verse confirms it. That the self does not perform any action is very well known in the Shruti. So this is the important one. That is, that the self does not perform any action is very well known in the Shruti, the Gita itself, the Smriti, and it is also reasonable. So 3 points, it's from Shruti, Gita itself is the Smriti, and it's also reasonable explanation. Gita says, Atma is not subject to modification. It is avikriya. Actions are done by the gunas. So how the actions are performed? By the gunas. Gunaireva karmani kriyante. So actions are done by the gunas. Gunareva karmani kriyante. Even though obtaining in the body, Arjuna, Atma does not act and is not touched. Sarirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. The same thing is said in the Shruti. He seemingly mediates and seemingly moves away. So same thing is said in the Shruti. He seemingly meditates. So he seemingly meditates and seemingly moves away. Yayati iva lelayati iva. Dhyayati iva lelayati iva. Atma does not do any act of meditation, nor does it get agitated and move away. Okay, so nor does it get agitated and move away. It only seems to do so. It only seems to do so. Okay. By reasoning, also, next paragraph here, heading, by reasoning also, we can see that the self is avikriya, actionless. So why with Atma is not karta, there is another reason they are trying to explain here. By reasoning also, it can be established that the self is without parts, not dependent on anything else, and not subject to modification. So three things here: without parts, not dependent on anything else, not subject to modification. Atma is the one thing that is self-evident and therefore does not depend upon any other thing for its existence. So Atma is the one thing that is self-evident and therefore that does not depend upon any other thing for its existence. If Atma has parts, they must exist in a locus, and a locus is necessarily an object and therefore anatma. Parts of Atma residing in anatma is untenable, and therefore Atma having parts cannot be supported by reasoning. So this is one thing. So Atma has parts, there must be exist in locus, and locus is necessarily an object and therefore anatma. So parts of Atma residing in anatma is untenable. Therefore Atma having parts cannot be supported by reasoning. Although because it is self-evident in the form of Chaitanya, everything else becomes evident to the self, including limbs and attributes. So everything else evident to the self. They are not self-evident and therefore not Atma. So all the anatma is not self-evident. Right. They are not self-evident and therefore not Atma. If you say Atma is subject to modification, how do you know this? If you say Atma is subject to modification, how do you know this? There should be another Atma seeing the Atma that is undergoing changes. And if we accept this, we will get into infinite regression. Second Atma to see the first, and the third to see the second, and so on. Even if by some stretch of imagination you are able to say that that Atma is subject to modification, the stretch of imagination, of course, you still cannot establish that Atma is the Karta, the doer. What would be its action? It could only be a change centered on Atma. If the physical body, mind, senses, etc., are performing action, it is their action. How can their action be the action of the Atma? Even accepting that Atma is subject to change. So even accepting the Atma is subject to change. The actions involved in bringing about the change are not the actions that emanate from the physical body, mind, and senses. Further, if we accept that Atma is independent of all of them, then that Atma cannot be the agent, karta, of actions done by the body, etc. When the physical body, mind, senses perform their actions, how can Atma become the karta, even if it is subject to change? The action done by one person cannot go to another person who has not done that action. It has nothing to do with him. If a given person's action belongs to that person alone, and no one else can be held accountable for it. You may argue that though the physical body performs the action, you have identification with it and take the physical body as yourself. Consequently, due to the ignorance now obtaining, karma that is done go to Atma, can go to Atma. If you say this, I will say, live long, Ayushman Bhava. For that is exactly what I'm saying. Even then, so the reason he say that here, then we are going to be in samsara because we are not going to realize Atma if we say this. That's what this means, live long, Ayushman Bhava. For that is exactly what I'm saying. Even then, Atma does not become the karta. If you due to ignorance, Atma is taken to be a karta, that agency, kartrutva, is not real. So due to ignorance, Atma is taken to be a karta, the agency, kartrutva is not real. Shankara gives an example. A shell that is mistaken for a piece of silver does not become silver. If you see silver due to your own ignorance of the fact that what you are looking at is a shell. You see a silver, which is not there at all. Similarly, if you see an action in Atma due to your ignorance of the actionlessness of the Atma. So, I'll read this line again. Similarly, if you see an action in Atma due to your ignorance of the actionless of Atma. So, in reality, Atma is actionless. That does not in any way belong to Atma. It is like cloud forms seen as palaces and dust seen in space like a sky by children, not knowing that these things do not belong to the space. So it is possible to perform an action without bringing about any change. So it is impossible to perform an action without bringing about any change. That is the basis of Shankara's argument. Without change on the locus of action, there cannot be any action. Conversely, wherever there is an action, the locus of that action must subject itself to some kind of change. Without action, you cannot even close or open your eyes. Even deliberately not opening the eyes implies a mental activity. Action always implies some motion. Action always implies some motion, some change, and the changes that take place in a given part of the body, etc. belong only to it, not to Atma. What is said here in this verse is proper. Yasya nahankrito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate atvapi saiman lokan nahanti na nibadyate. The mind of the one who has no notion that he is the doer is not affected. So the mind of the one who has no notion that he is the doer is not affected. Even killing these people, he does not kill and is not bound. Oh, this is the same sloka that we are reading. His mind is not troubled with remorse about what he did and did not do, because there is no sankara, mix up. That wise person does not do the action of killing, nor is he bound by the result of action. So that wise person does not do the action of killing, nor is he bound by the result of action. Shankara points out the statement in the second chapter of Gita, he does not kill nor is he killed. Na ayam hanti na hanyate. That is because it is said he is not born, na jayate. This statement reveals the changelessness of Atma. The entire view of the Gita Shastra is presented here properly. Both the one who looks upon the Atma as an object, one who looks upon the object as Atma as an object which can be destroyed, And the one who looks upon the Atma as the subject, the action of killing or any other action, do not know the Atma. Okay? Do not know the Atma. Ubauta na vijanitah, sorry. Ubatau na vijanitah. Atma does not perform the action of killing. Atma does not perform the action of killing or become the object of somebody's act of destruction. You cannot objectify the Atma to destroy it. And therefore, Bhagavan went on to say, Nainam chintanti shastrani. Weapons cannot destroy it. Nainam chintanti shastrani. So, weapons cannot destroy it. I cannot objectify you. I cannot objectify you, the Atma, in order to destroy you. Nor can you, as Atma, perform any action. It is not possible that Atma is either the subject or the object of action, of an action. So here is the key line here. It is not possible that Atma is either the subject or object of an action. It's a no doing. So, having made this initial statement, he gave the reason why Atma is not subject to death, decay, etc. It was never born, najayate. There was never a time it was not there, nor having been there, later it will not be. Na ayam bhutva bhavitava na bhuyaha. This kind of a problem does not exist for Atma, because Atma is not subject to time. It is unborn. It is eternal. Ajah nityam. It is unborn. It is eternal. Ajah nityam. By giving these statements of reasoning, he tells us that Atma is not subject to modification. It is avikriya. So this is about from Gita, and the previous one we read is about what other reasonable explanation about it. Atma is not a karta. What kind of action can one perform? There are two types of actions. One that you do and one that you prompt someone else to do. Both are your actions. Okay. But the one who knows this indestructible, okay, one who knows this indestructible, eternal, unborn, imperishable Atma does neither of the actions. How? Whom will that person destroy or cause to destroy? So, how or whom will that person destroy or cause to destroy? He does not perform any action whatsoever. This is sarva karma sannyasa by knowledge. Such a person is no longer enjoined to do any karma because he is not a karta. Oh, 1 second. So this is sarva karma sannyasa by knowledge. Such a person is no longer enjoined to do any karma because he is not a karta. Having said all this briefly, at the beginning of the Shastra, in the second chapter of the Gita, Krishna elaborates upon it. Wherever there is an occasion in the Gita, so he elaborates upon it wherever there is an occasion in the Gita. Even while doing, he does not do. He says, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, going, sleeping, breathing, etc. He does not think he is doing any action. Naiva kinchit karomi iti yukto manyeta tattvavit. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sparsan, Jihran, Asnan, Gachan, Swapan, Swasa. He also says the one who sees the inaction in action and action in inaction. Karmani akarma yaha pashyet akarmani cha karmayaha. He knows the truth and says in the 13th chapter, even though obtaining in the body, Arjuna, he does not act. We have seen varieties of verses like this in the Gita, showing that Atma does not perform any action. Now he sums up the vision of the entire Shastra to bring it all together in one place. It is something like gathering rice grains that are scattered all over into one heap. Krishna knows he is reaching the end of his teaching and therefore sums up the whole topic under discussion by saying here that the wise person, one who knows Atma, does not destroy nor is he bound. So, this is the conclusion. The one who knows Atma does not destroy nor is he bound by that action. The whole Gita Shastra deals with pravritti and nivritti. The whole Gita Shastra is dealing with karma and sannyasa. Shankara also makes it clear in his introduction that it is centered on pravritti and nivritti. And Lord Krishna himself says, Arjuna, in this world, a twofold commitment was told by me before knowledge. So, Arjuna, in this world, a twofold commitment was told by me before knowledge for the renunciates and karma for the karma yogis. Lokesmin dvivida nishta pura prokta maya anaga jnana yogena shankyanam karma yogena yoginam. In this chapter, you will see again how clearly the Shastra unfolds what is real sannyasa, what is the lifestyle of sannyasa, and what is karma yoga. The entire Gita revolves around these three topics. Again, in this chapter, you will see again how clearly the Shastra unfolds what is real sannyasa, what is the lifestyle of sannyasa, and what is karma yoga. The entire Gita revolves around these three topics. Sarva karma sannyasa is the main thing to be accomplished, for which you can live a life of either karma yoga or karma sannyasa, in which there is no other pursuit but knowledge. So the last line is Sarva karma sannyasa is the main thing to be accomplished, for which you can live a life of either karma yoga or karma sannyasa, in which there is no other pursuit but knowledge. In both these pursuits, there is karma palatyaga, renunciation of the results of actions, because actions are not done for punya but for moksha. One second. One who has the knowledge of the Atma is completely free from karma because he no longer has any sense of agency. So the one who has the knowledge of the Atma is completely free from karma because he no longer has any sense of agency, kartrutva, and therefore no identification with the body. So here's the key factor after all reading these things. This is the takeaway, I think. It is very clear to him that he performs no action because all sense of agency and action stemming from that are caused by ignorance. I'll read from the beginning again. The one who has the knowledge of the Atma is completely free from karma because he no longer has any sense of agency, kartrutva, and therefore no identification with the body. It is very clear to him that he performs no action because all sense of agency and action stemming from that are caused by ignorance. When this is so, there is total renunciation of all actions in the form of knowledge, and therefore three types of results of karma, ishta, anishta, and misra, do not exist for him. But 5 verses ago, it was said, after death, there is threefold result of karma: desired, undesired, and mixture of the two. For those who have not renounced their sense of doership, but never for sannyasis. So there's a clarity for you here. The difference between the sannyasi and the somebody who's doing the karma. As long as there is an identification with the body and therefore a sense of doership, it is not possible to avoid karma phala. It will stick to you because you are the doer of the action. Shankara himself says here that this is the essence of the meaning of all the Vedas. Again, Shankara himself says here that this is the essence of the meaning of all the Vedas, and that after properly analyzing it, it should be understood by learned people who are capable of discrimination and inquiry. These are those whose mind is rendered subtle and can therefore probe into the subject matter. So, the last line here, I'll read it one more time. Shankara himself says here that this is the essence of meaning of all the Vedas, and that after properly analyzing it, it should be understood by learned people who are capable of discrimination and inquiry. These are those whose mind is rendered subtle and can therefore probe into that subject matter. Wherever there was an occasion for it, the difference between karma, sannyasa, and sarva karma sannyasa was shown, keeping in view the entire shastra as well as reasoning. So the difference between karma, sannyasa, and sarva karma sannyasa. Reasoning is important as a support for the assimilation of the meaning of the shastra, because there are other possible interpretations. What the Shastra says can be above reason, no doubt, but it cannot be irrational. The whole tradition is presented very clearly here. The Vedic tradition is centered on karma. Either one does enjoined karmas and kame karmas in keeping with the dharma. When moksha is established as the end to be accomplished, one gives up kame karma and does enjoined karma as karma yoga while pursuing knowledge. Or one gives up even the enjoined karmas and pursues only knowledge. All this one does for moksha, which is the complete giving up of the doership, something that is possible only by knowledge. You don't do anything in reality. In the wake of knowledge, Atma is discovered as one which is incapable of action, and in that sense, the renunciation of doership takes place. Therefore, there are no byproducts of karma for this person. No karma pala, no more birth and death. In these few lines, the whole Gita Shastra has been summed up. Isn't it so nice? You don't need to read the whole thing, just read this paragraph. Previously, we saw the fivefold constituents of action, adhisthana, etc. And then the grouping of the actions themselves under three heads, Kayika, Vachika, and Manasa. And now, what exactly impels one to do this threefold karma? This Krishna tells in next verse. So let me read this one paragraph one more time. The whole tradition is presented very clearly here. The Vedic tradition, it's centered on karma. Either one does enjoined karmas and kamya karmas in keeping with dharma. When moksha is established as the end to be accomplished, one gives up kamya karma and does enjoined karmas as karma yoga while pursuing knowledge. So this is the step we have to take. One gives up a kamya karma and does enjoined karmas as the karma yoga while pursuing knowledge. Or one gives up even the enjoined karmas and pursues only knowledge. All this one does for moksha, which is the complete giving up of doership. So all this one does for moksha, which is the complete giving up of doership, something that is possible only by knowledge. So without that, we can't just give up everything. So something that is possible only by knowledge. You don't do anything in reality. In the wake of knowledge, Atma is discovered as one which is incapable of action, and in that sense, the renunciation of doership takes place. Therefore, there are no byproducts of karma for this person. So there's an answer for people who, when we all ask the question, right, how come the person kill and not kill? So this is the answer here. Therefore, there are no byproducts of karma for this person, no karma pala. So since you don't have an agency, no, nothing incapable of action, renunciation of doership takes place. That's why no karma, no byproducts of karma, no karma pala, no more birth and death. In these few lines, the whole Gita Shastra has been summed up. We did a big, this is almost like reading the whole book, right? 2, 14, 13, 12, 11. So we had 11, 10. Oh my God, 9 to 8. Okay, from 8 to 14, that means 6 pages for this. Oh my God.
Hari Om. Like in the end, when we are reading this, I was just thinking like how we like when we are in the school that we are we
Can you
have
just
those
hold that thought? I'll get a glass of water. Just a second. I'll be back. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking like how in school we have those ambitions, no, that we'll do this, we'll take this as a profession. But now after reading all this, I think that it is only the Vedic knowledge which is important, and that is not given at all. So
it is like, the when we are reading that I didn't do this, I was not able to do this, that repentance paragraph was there, and how it is irrelevant. The knowledge which is to be given is not given, and all the knowledge related to the materialistic world is given, and we are literally every person, I think, is lost in this world, running after things and which holds no value, and the main goal is missed in that.
Yeah, I do understand that, but then how are we going to get the food and everything if we are going to do only Vedic chanting, right? I mean,
No,
it should be
I
part
mean
of
that
life.
it should be part of, it should be a part, at least a part of
Yeah,
that.
part of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
but
it should
it
be
is
part of
not
it.
given at all in schools. Don't you think it is? Maybe it is
Yeah,
now
yeah, definitely. I think, but I think it's because of the society, it is like that. I mean,
Yeah. So
because it was Vedic, that was the type of life we had in the past. But then
in the
we were
past also people were living.
no.
They
Then
had
what
those
happened? People
rituals.
were
Yes.
like we had so many people came into the country and they changed the system,
Yeah.
and that was the bottom line to begin with.
Yeah.
And they try to abolish the system, but even with all those changes, like
It's still
we are still
surviving.
able to survive this. That
Yeah.
means that is the truth.
Sanatan Dharma. Yeah.
Mhm. So that
Yeah.
we have
Right.
to appreciate you of that, because and there are people who know this, right? That's why time to time we have some Swamiji comes up,
And
and then
yeah.
they're trying to
Right.
spread the word and taking it to global level. It was only in
Yeah.
India before. Now even 1860s or 1897, Vivekananda came to US and gave the lecture about it and all that. So even those days, people have tried to reach out to the whole knowing, just we didn't keep it ourselves. We try to spread it to all over the world, all the other communities, inclusive of everybody. Our only religion has this inclusive of everybody, and we have tolerance for everybody.
Yeah, Dr. Brahmara was saying few days
Sorry.
back, no,
Huh?
that Dr. Brahmara was saying, no, once like that we have this Sanatan Dham, so it will never die. It will maybe
No.
like it will go down, but it will not perish.
See,
It
that's
will
why
survive.
now that we know, we try to spread it to our friends and families. They may not get it right away. They may get it 10 years from now or sooner, later. But little by little. Like,
Yeah.
and there is these things are there, and
So it's important to
spread
spread and to live this
life also, right,
life
for
of,
ourselves. Yeah.
yeah, so that
It's
some
called
impression can,
Rishiruna. Yeah,
yeah.
very right. Sorry to interrupt. Savita ji, continue. I will share after you're
No,
done.
no, I just finished. I was just reading the whole thing. Was just like um, the reality was reality was this only, that we should live this life and be some role models like for the next generation, so that this doesn't go away. This knowledge,
Yeah,
this
what is done
value.
is
That is
done
why
already.
everybody has
Yeah.
three rinas, three debts that we have to fulfill. One is Pitru Rina, Deva Rina, and Rishi Rina. Rishi Rina is whatever knowledge we have received. It is our bounden duty to share it with others. That is the Rishi Rina. Deva Rina, if I'm not mistaken, is like doing all our yajna, dana, yajna and all that. That must be Deva Rina. And Pitra Rina is for the ancestors. This tradition of giving our paying our respects to the pitras. So these three rinas are very important for everyone to fulfill.
Dr. Brahmada, I have a question about that Prithru thingy. What did he say? Prithru Runa, right?
Yeah,
And
Pitra
then
rina, Deva rina, and Rishi rina.
yeah, in India, like even here, we used to do that. We're having the priest over and do the pinda and all that. It becomes really cumbersome here because I mean, not that I can have a priest over and all that, but then they tell you take this rice and this that you cannot put it here. You have to take it to the water and drop it off there and all that. Here, in this country, it's so really hard to do such things, because when people notice, then they're spoiling something and they come after. I gave it to my husband one time. We had to go to the bay and put it there, and they all had fence and whatnot. So, is this something in that way to be done, or should we just make food and do like prayer and things like that? That will do. I know it is individual decision, but I'm just wanting to know what is the right way to do this
The
Pitrurana.
Shastra is so good that
Mm,
it shows you the way, and it also gives you some alternatives. What did we do when we had COVID? They were not able to do the proper funeral rites. People were not even
right.
able to go see their loved ones that passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So there is
Yeah.
always, so I think bottom line, your intention is important.
Right.
What the action comes out, it might be in line with Shastra. There
Mm,
may be a little deviation. I mean, there are sometimes, for a simple example, for Guru Puja, we have a Guru Puja, Shodasha Samskara, Shodasha Puja it is. We have 16 different things that are required for the puja.
mm-hmm.
There are
Mm-hmm.
places in the world where you don't find betel leaves.
Mm-hmm.
You don't find coconuts, for instance. So you
Right.
have an alternate. So there is
Mm,
an alternate. You can put akshatas instead of that. So there is
right.
always an alternate given. But
Okay.
then, because that is not possible, you don't
Mm.
stop doing it. You
No,
continue
no.
doing it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
with a intention. I think that is most important. But
Okay.
then
Yeah,
again,
the bhav is so
the bhava
important.
is more important. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know we do it. I mean, with the TD and all that, we do it. But we used to have people over, and they say you have to dispose this sesame seeds. It cannot be fall on the ground, or this and that, and they
correct.
give you this that that tarpan. What is it called?
Yeah,
The grass. So
that
that burn. I can't flush it in the sink either. Somehow, it gets very.
see, there
And
is
then
always.
taking the cooked rice to put it in a creek or somewhere.
Mm,
That is, we in at home we had a well or something we could do it. Here in we have a little bit of. It was so funny that my husband, thought the bay is close to me and go there, but he had a hard time getting it.
mm,
But we don't want to do wrongly also, right? I mean, we can't reach the ocean or
correct.
river and things like that. Yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd just ask you the question.
Mm,
We do it every year. We pray and do the things, and of course, we don't even get crows here. When you have to put the right, but I
Yeah.
still keep it
Jay,
outside. Yeah.
yeah, Jay Gurudev. Maharaji, there is alternative for because in Maharashtrians,
Mm,
during Ganpati time, we bring the Ganpati. It's
mm,
made with mud also.
mm,
So that we bring and then put it in the well or in the river also. But
yeah.
now these days people have become aware of polluting the not
Right.
polluting
Water.
the rivers and water bodies. So what
Mm-hmm.
they do, they put a water in the bucket and
Mm.
they immerse in that, and then
Oh,
that water is used for watering the plants also.
oh,
So
I
that
see.
can be done. There are alternatives. It has to go in the water. Ultimately, it
Mm.
will reach the earth only, right?
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of alternatives we have to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Some of this were very particular about certain things, right? Mm, that's why. Anyway, good to know that part. That's why I asked the question, because we always talk about Pitru Karma, right? And there are few of those that.
What Gurudev says, not just
Mm,
about these these rituals, but in
mm,
general, he says, he talks about the organization as a framework. He says
mm,
it's only a framework. It is not hard and rigid. So
right,
there is a way of doing it, but there are 10 different ways of doing the same thing. So it is not
right.
hard and rigid. I know there are some pundits who are very orthodox and they say,
Mm-hmm,
okay, this way, my way, or this is how it has to be done, no other way.
mm,
But,
right.
uh, you know, being a part of the art of living, I've
Mm,
been exposed to this aspect of the alternate route in case
mm,
what is prescribed, what
possible.
is not
Right.
possible, then
Yeah.
to look at the other ways. So it's not
Yeah,
really a rigid framework, it's a loose framework where you work around.
right. For ages, we were donating money to the Eye Foundation, where they do cataract surgery for like every month, one patient like that for whole year. We were donating money, but in the that since we are reading this all the time, and I felt I asked that question because we have to do in that manner, or it's that there's alternative things. That's
There is
good to
also
know.
an option of
Mm.
getting it done in some
Mm.
other mutt or some temple or some other place where
Right.
you give the details of your of the people that you want to do the ritual for, and then
Mm.
it will be done on your name. That is also another possibility for people who cannot access even a pandit, for instance. So
Right. My
there are
husband is only son, right, for his parents, so he has to do it. My sister-in-law does it in her home. Whenever it happens, she does in everybody's name and gives the name of parents, everybody at home. But in our part, we wanted to make sure that we do it at home also. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Brahmara and Mirnal, sharing your thoughts. I will look into it. They are doing in the temple or not here. Like I will check with the priest here. So going back to this sloka, the reason I brought back this Yashya na krito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate. So they describe this whole thing in the last paragraph. Please share your thoughts. This is really um, how he brings. Well, he discussed why it can be karta, why it cannot be karta, and all that. So
so the
hopefully,
progression is from going from kamya karma
mm,
to doing karma which is ordained, that is becoming a karma yogi. And
mm,
from there, either you become a karma yogi or a sannyasi, depending on your eligibility and your
mm,
preparedness. And then finally is the sarva karma
sannyasa.
sannyasa, which is moksha. And that
Mm,
is through knowledge. That is
right.
the rung of the steps, so to say. So we all have to work on our kamya karmas. How many of our prayers are going towards loka kalyana, or is it for some physical gain, some gain in security, pleasure, wealth, fame?
Yeah.
So that little awareness, then we are becoming more and more of a karma yogi.
Yeah. So actually, that's why here they clearly explained, right? The enjoined karmas, it's a karma yoga we can do. The kama karmas, that as time goes on, when you're more towards that, you kind of go with the karma yoga, and then once you're ready to renounce all the actions, sarva karma sannyasa is the last take on it?
Yeah, it's not so much renouncing of actions. It is because it is you realize that you're no longer the doer. It is jnanena sarva karma sannyasa. Because even a sannyasi continues to do actions, no? There are actions he does.
They do
so,
that. Then they
महिंद्रा नहीं
become.
कभी कभी लेगा जो जिस दिन चाहिए पी लो.
So basically what happened here, yeah.
Jai Gurudev, what all includes in enjoined karmas?
Nitya naimittika karmas, right?
Naimittika karma.
That's what we read. Nishkam.
Pitru karma comes under the naimittika karma.
Pitru karma, right?
Nitya karma is what you do every day. There are some things, 7, like snana. Starting from snana, daily bath is also a nitya karma. Snana, japa, puja, agnihotra, sandhya vandana, all these, whoever is exposed to this, that becomes their nitya karma. And naimittika karma is to be done at specific times, like grahana. This one also is there.
Yeah,
during grahana, you need to follow certain
eclipse time, right? Yeah.
Eclipse time, yeah.
Yeah, and then there is Pitru and another one like that.
I think even all the Shodasha samskaras come under the Naimittika karma. The Pumsavana, the Simantana.
When the planetary changes happens, also, they do certain cleansing home and things like that. You know, like that is also comes under Naimita karma. 3 of them I read, like you said. Pitru karma, the eclipse, and the planetary change. What is Shodasa karma means, Dr. Brahma?
Shodasha samskaras, these are the at different cusp periods of our life. Like, for instance, when a mother conceives, that is considered a significant time.
Right.
Also, when during the first trimester, end of the first trimester or so, that is one. And then Simantana is between the 5th and the 7th month. Then Namakarana, when the naming ceremony. And then you have the Upanayana, which is when he comes of 7 years or so. Like that, there are 16 different samskaras prescribed to be done at different stages of our life. At that point, you invoke, doing mantra chanting, some Vedic chanting, that will kind of empower them at that transition phase. Like for girls, there is this when they attain menstruation,
menarche,
when they attain menarche, that is one. So that's like that. Even Vivaha is considered a part of the Shodasha samskara. Shashti Purti is considered part of the Shodasha samskaras. And similarly, it is like from birth, it is called from womb to tomb. There are different transitioning phases. So at each time,
Jai Gurudev Brahmaraji, I don't think Shashti Purti comes under samskaras. It is only after the marriage.
Shashti Purti doesn't come, correct.
Doesn't come. Only after marriage, it's only the last rites.
Correct. You're right. Shashti Purti, although it is considered as one of those to be done, like Bhima Rata Shanti, Shashti Purti, and at 80 years, there's something else. So all this Sahasra Chandra Darshan or something it's called. So it is there, but yeah, you're right. So from womb to tomb, there are different things to be done.
For adolescent boys, also the first shave. This is what we learned in pregnancy TTC, yoga TTC. The first time they shave the hair on the face.
Mundana, it's called.
No, not Mundan. Mundan is completely taking off the hair for the babies, no, and piercing the ears. That is one. Soda samskara. For adolescent boys, the first shave is also considered Sodasa samskara. I believe it brings a sudden change in them. Here, if you remember Ashutosh session.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is when they are getting in. I mean, they're being graduated after they graduate from. I forget the name for that.
That is at the end of Gurukula, end of their brahmacharya, they get into grahastha. That period is the graduation period, or when they complete their studies. I'll have to check my notes. What is the name for it? Yeah, you're right. That is also one of the samskaras. Samskaras or sanskaras? Sanskara.
So anybody has any thoughts? I mean, we read a whole lot in this one, but then the takeaway is that he summarized it right from second chapter to the end of this second chapter. Lot of slokas to be quoted on this. To 21:5 in 5th chapter 8 and 9, 4th chapter 18, 13th chapter 31, 3rd chapter is 3 and 3. That is this.
What I've got is I have to honor myself. I am a spiritual being in this body, so I need to honor my soul, and the soul is present throughout. So basically, I need to honor my soul. That is what I'm getting from this reading. And I also did an analysis of all that, how karma works, all that I wrote, and incorporated Gurudev's knowledge also. And it kind of comes down to the same thing, that it is the divine which has taken different forms as different people. So when you honor yourself, somehow you develop that honor for everybody else. This is the thing I have gathered now. I don't know how I will implement it. So that's it.
Yeah, that basically that one paragraph that we read, right? What good I did, what wrong thing I did, like that. That is no use of thinking like that. Is that what you're talking about, right? Like, so there is, what is that part we read?
No, I'm not thinking like that. I have
no, that part. No, yeah, okay. When you say that honoring that part, that basically
no, honoring myself, honoring the divinity in me, because I am a divine soul in this body. So I need to honor my soul first. When I start honoring that soul, automatically I gain this knowledge that everybody is a soul. So that honoring will of everything, I think, will happen. So that is when that you automatically realize, or you live that action in inaction and inaction in action.
The soul and Atma is it's interchangeable in terms of the words. I mean, I'm sure soul is the Atma also, like can say that.
That's how I am taking it, that soul and Atma is the same. And in even in that 6th chapter, no, Bhagavan says, Uttaret Atman Atmanam. He says even the mind is Atma, no? You lift your mind by your own mind. So
yeah,
everything
I mean, it
is
says
Atma.
in the Buddhi, Of course, Atma is pervaded, it is pervading everything, right? So there is no place you can separate, okay, here is where the Atma is sitting, or here is where it is. In that sense, it's everywhere. That's good. And yeah, this part, what Savita ji also is saying about how we doing regretful and all these things, but basically you don't. It only happens the guilt and I go together. So it's not like the body, or it's not about the action that was done. It is about that. That's where that guilt forms. But we have to give up that part of that, free from
the identification, attachment.
identifying yourself with that action. I mean, your body, that identifying with the body or mind, the self, that ahankara, that is what that. And then that ignorance, how we going to take it out is by this giving up. I mean, not giving up. Once you're away from the kamya karma and taking the path of karma yoga or sannyasa, and then go into sarva karma sannyasa, gaining the knowledge, moksha. But believe me, this Swamiji Dayananda Saraswati, and between him and this Shankara, Hari Shankara, they really, gave it a lot for this one sloka. We've been reading and reading and reading. It's the explanation so much to get the gist of it. Okay, so what time is it now? 8:28. Oh my God. So this line also was nice, right? Somebody who says this Atma is a karta, then he say, live long, Ayushman Bhava. In a nice, he has that humor, like, okay, then you're going to come back again and again and live longer. That's what it means, right? And then
the sarcasm with very
right.
subtle.
That's Dayananda Saraswati. That's so funny. Avikriya avayava.
Niravaya.
Niravayava. Right, correct. Niravayava.
Niravayava. Yeah. If Swami Dayananda is like this, Swami Chinmayananda, you break into peals of laughter when you listen to the way he. And
I know, I always laugh with
very expressive when he talks.
Yeah.
Changes his intonations, and it's such a lovely thing to just watch him speak. Yeah.
I know. I watch his videos a lot, and then he goes with that BMI chart, and we has the indicator kind of thing, with the ball in the middle. I think he maybe don't want to poke anybody with it, and so he has a ball in the end.
Gratitude to all these great masters who have brought the Jnana Ganga to our reach. I mean, that's wonderful. So we'll close here today. I know we did 17 3 times, I think, but it's worth it. Tomorrow we'll start with Shloka 18.
18, okay, great. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Do you want me to share anything? I mean, play.
Yeah, I think we have. We can play Maya Panchakam.
Maya Panchakam, okay.
निरुपमनित्यनिरंशकेऽप्यखण्डे मयि चिति सर्वविकल्पनादिशून्ये घटयति जगदीश जीवभेदम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया श्रुतिशतनिगमान्तशोधकानपि अहह धनादिनिदर्शनेन सद्यः कलुषयति चतुष्पदाद्यभिन्ना न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया सुखचिदखण्डविबोधमद्वितीयम् वियदनलादिविनिर्मित्ते नियोज्य भ्रमयति भवसागरे नितान्तम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया अपगतगुणवर्णजातिभेदे सुखचितिविप्रविडाद्यहङ्कृतिं च स्फुटयति सुतदारकेहमोहम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया विधिहरिहरविभेदमप्यखण्डे बत विरचय्य बुधानपि प्रकामम् भ्रमयति हरिहरविभेदभावान् घटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया
Thank you so much.